Hello, my name is Brooke Lee, and I'm doing my project on the energy dataset. So to start with, I'm going to explain exactly what an abstraction is. An abstraction is to break down a real-world entity into properties that are relevant to that particular entity. In this case, we abstracted the various energy sources in the United States. This energy dataset is provided by the U.S. Energy Information Administration. It provides reports categorized into the properties of production, consumption, the import and export of fuel sources. In addition, this dataset can be filtered from the years 1949 to 2014. As you can see, this provides a visual map as to how the data is constructed. The dataset is a list of dictionaries. The consumption property has a list of keys that can be accessed. These keys include biomass, coal, fossil fuels, geothermal, hydroelectric, etc. Another example of this is the exports property that contains the keys biofuels, coal, coal coke, crude oil, etc. Each of these keys has a value, and these values are called floats. As more research has been conducted on global warming, the process of pushing green energy alternatives has become a popular topic in American politics over the last several years. My question is there an increase or decrease over time in the production of fossil fuels within the United States? According to the data provided, it's surprising to find that despite recent political efforts to decrease the production of fossil fuels, the production value of fossil fuels has continued to increase over time. According to our previous visualization, the production of fossil fuels has continued to increase. Is the trend over time in the production of renewable energy resources increasing as well, or has the competitive incline of fossil fuel production caused renewable energy sources to decline? This graph shows that although fossil fuel production has continued to, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, 8% of the United States coal production gets exported. What is the relationship between coal production and the export of coal in the United States? While the points aren't concentrated, you can see that there is a low positive correlation between these two factors. This suggests that there are likely many factors involved that give it this positive relationship, and they are not directly related to one another, but indirectly. Some of the limitations I found in this dataset was that it cannot be filtered by state. This limits the ability to understand the production, consumption, import, and export values of various energy sources within specific parts of the country. In addition, there's no data to explain the export property of this dataset as to where these energy sources are exported to, and what countries specifically. Some of the stakeholders include policymakers, citizens, fossil fuel industries, and green energy industries. Policymakers are involved in the legislative process that directly affects the environment, fossil fuel industries, green energy industries, and the citizens in the area. Everyday people are directly involved in terms of how they live each day. This could mean their mode of transportation, whether or not it affects their jobs if they work for these industries, and if it consequently affects their residential areas and the environment within it. The survival of the fossil fuel industry depends on the profit that it makes. The economy is largely funded by the export of energy sources as well. And just like the fossil fuel industry, the survival of green energy industries depends on the profit that it makes. Its greatest competitor, not just financially speaking, but politically speaking, is the fossil fuel industry. Some conflicts includes that the environmental consequences due to the growth of fossil fuel industry could lead to pollution problems, which that could then lead to various legal conflicts whether this is a regulation or a deregulation of oil and gas extraction industries, as well as zoning laws and the interference onto residential properties.